Okay.
All right, here we are. Um, Hi everyone. Hopefully you've just seen the program that we put together of this work. Um, I'm here with Simon Quéheillard, um, and we're gonna have a short conversation about his work, and hopefully it will provide some interesting context to what you've just seen. So, Simon, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
It's such a thrill to bring these videos to Iowa City.
Yeah.
Um, I'm
We
such a
have
fan.
7 hours delay, right?
Yeah.
Between you. So what? Okay.
So
The- yeah.
right now, or the screening will be at 5:30, which
Right.
right now it is 8:15 in the morning for me. Um,
Ah, right now?
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. The morning. Okay.
I thought maybe we could just start by talking about how you began making videos. How did your work involves quite a bit of performance, and maybe some sculptural aspects to it as well.
Mm.
Um, did you start with a video practice, or was this a later outgrowth of what you were doing?
Yeah. Yes, it was a later. I mean, later. It's the beginning of my work, but it was not. It was more a consequence than a profound desire of uh, of 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 work. Uh, but my first work is I mean it's what I have before my eyes is my first video, and my first work is is 2 hours 2 years before, or one or 2 years before. So it's the beginning of my work is involved in video. But first, I didn't like video at all when I was a student, not so much. I prefer the 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 reality of the concrete object, and I was more, I didn't like images. I was suspicious with, I had a problem with making images because it couldn't, it was difficult for me that the image could carry the way it is produced. And when I make when when I first start making object, there was something important, that the object could tell his own story, or his, So this is, in a way, this way of thinking is that the process uh, has to be, how do you say, embedded in the thing itself, so I mean, I didn't know all that stuff at that moment, but for example, in the one of the main conceptual art piece, like box with the sound of his own making, this is the program is but on a very strict level the program is done, but I didn't know all this at that time. But so first thing is that the image should uh, show itself, like show the way, show the his birth, the way the image come to life. That's how do you say? For me, it became a cahier des charges, or when you have a you want to build something, and you have all the things you have to do, to do list. I don't know.
Mhm.
So and because when I did something else, it didn't work. So I had to do that, because all my idea, all my impulsion was into this. So I needed that, to rely on this. Otherwise, my all the form that I had was uh, trying. So again, it's not a profound desire or something you have to think. It's concrete. Well, concrete conclusion of what you have to do. But my first video is like with the poodles or poodles, you say, yeah,
Puddles, yeah.
poodles. So I watch poodles and I say, how could I show a birth of a poodles?
Mm.
How could I show which I didn't, I wasn't aware of this, but a birth of an image. So I have to, and the video was nice because you can, when you do something, you can record yourself doing something. So you become the operator is becoming a part of the process. So the fact that video implies time, and solve a lot of problem
Yeah, okay.
at the beginning. So the first gesture is this. I saw some artist work at that time who did that you appear, you shoot, and you appear on screen, you do something, and you leave the screen. That's all. And then you have a system of making and showing things that I did since then, and I think I will do all my life. This is like a device for me, like to shoot, appears, disappear, and the second step is what happened when I
Yeah.
leave the screen, and then the whole universe can come in.
Mm.
So this is
Yeah,
voilà.
I you mentioned the puddles as a kind of object, but I think and then in the later pieces, we get plastic water bottles, cardboard boxes, um, lawn chairs, all sorts of sort of commonplace, maybe even pieces of trash um, in the film. And I feel like there's often a kind of humor within these objects in the way that they operate in the world. And I'm wondering if there was a kind of light bulb moment with other objects when you were going beyond the puddles when you
Uh,
sort of realize, oh, I can do this with a cardboard box, or I can do this with
uh,
a.
So for this, yeah, when I'm as you say, very I'm sorry, you're very right when you say beyond the puddles, because it was very a gap to go, like to leave the puddles and to go to machine, in fact. And this object that you talk about are um, are the testimony of the life in big cities and the life of consumer, but the forgotten life of the consumer, and the forgotten life of the city, the life that exists on the on the footstep. So inside, like a subconscious,
Mhm.
or down to the conscious, down on the floor, on the feet. And the feet you don't take. I mean, the feet is you just cross. But this object, they exist. They can't exist. They have to be put in motion with machine, which orchestrates the life in the city where we live. So the first step was not really to shoot this object. The first step was to shoot an escalator.
Ah, yes, yes.
So and then when you are on an escalator, I first watch, when you cross escalator, a pen like this, turning indefinitely, at the end before leaving the stairs, and keep moving like this, like indefinitely. And I said there's this eternal movement happening here, and the exit of the escalator, which are all the time going on the street. If you noticed that
Hmm.
it's not inside the subway because there you couldn't stage all this. So this important is that the escalator is on the on the gap between the subway, the subworld, and the worlds of lights and the world of the street. You know, so and so it's like the subway like throw all throw people and throw stuff, you know, and the and voilà. So then what would what can we stage near the feet of people? This stuff like are gathered all around the city, all around the world, let's say, but that are no, that not gathered. They are dispersed all around the world, but then gather in a small stage, which is when you go out from the sub life to light, you know, and then happens a drama, which is all this, and then so this is the first step, like how to shoot an escalator, which was very hard at that time. I remember the very hard process because when you go from poodles, it's all poodles is almost erotic, you know, close to an escalator because an escalator is just a big machine. It's like a production factory instrument, you know. It just goes and on and on, and it's a machine, and it doesn't. There's no. It's a big. It's like a wall, you know, and so this movie gave me a lot of problem of that's why the editing took me like 7 years, I think. I mean, not all the time, but from piece to piece, and to have the good balance between the different shots. And but so that's the point. And considering this object, um, it really became conscious at the second step, like Master Wind, um, of the humanity of waste objects, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's because waste object is very be, it, I become aware about what is a waste object. It's something that nobody needs anymore, you know, something that nobody wants anymore. It's something that is on the side, you know. They are thrown away. So you have they are dispensed to be useful, you know.
Mm, yeah.
So so for me, it was a it became the object of desire for this reason, you know, because they don't need to be something. They just can be what they are or what they need to be, or I don't know. They just exist. there's no there's no. Of course, there's afterwards. If you, of course, but there's an aesthetics of this kind of object in artworks. But if you watch an object on the street, is still an object on the street that you just can shoot with your feet, and you don't necessarily think about art or about. And this object, they are free from. They don't have any convention anymore. They are almost nothing. And when you so this is the first, and when you stage them, uh, yeah, you realize. I mean, I discover it as you maybe discover. I mean, in your question, say that you discover something like how this, but I discover it as you like
Yeah.
that that the way we react to this object, to what happened to this object, is the way we could react to a character or to because we we act. I mean, but that's why the drama or the dramaturgy has to be, even if it's random, it's a wind or accident, failure, all stuff that you don't desire. Again, you
Hmm.
don't necessarily tell what's gonna happen, but when this you develop a, like reflex of empathy, uh,
Yes.
reflex of humanity. You always, so that's a game between something that really don't needs you, really don't care about, which have no conscious, and you as a human bringing conscious into those things, bringing a human. I have a list of um, like in Master Wind, I call it this is where the empathy came really in Master Wind, and then maybe Ambush in Suspense. But I have Master Wind. I call it theater of humors, not humors like funny,
Hmm.
humors like humors.
Yes.
Les humeurs like, and there's like fear, amazement, disappointment, liberation, destruction, scientific question, joy, excesses, empathy, and all the list of human beings. It's like a program. I mean, it's not a program, but yeah, it feels a program
Yeah.
of that's that. And if I may finish with that,
Yeah.
that's where stand the comics, the slapstick or burlesque, we say in French, the funny, the comedy, because you know that this is not human, and this is so. But it has also I realize that the relation to slapstick comedy is has been I took it, okay, like a generous gift from history, but again it was not a profound desire. I'm conscious of that now, of course, but I realize that it's very it's one of the main things happen in a comic slapstick comedy. Like in Jacques Tati, for example, it's very strong. This what we call anthropomorphic.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
Ouais, voilà, ça c'est.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that the objects sort of take on a life of their own. And I think you're absolutely, I'm glad that you brought that up, that especially I feel like in ambush and in suspense, you start to, it begins as this kind of amazing sort of shocking and kind of hilarious sort of stunt of these trees falling and crushing the objects. But you're right, there's a certain moment where the objects start to take on maybe something that's a bit more tragic, a little more frightening. When you see the tables sort of twitching back and forth,
Yeah,
um, it
yeah,
doesn't, you're sort of undermining the maybe the sort of comic, or you're expanding beyond the comic with the use of the objects. I was, I also wanted to, I think the interesting thing about Master Wind and Ambush and Suspense is that you also appear as a kind of character in the
yeah,
film and in both films. And I was wondering, um, how you got, I mean, you appear somewhat in What Do I Have Before My Eyes, but in these later two films you kind of become a character, and I'm wondering, was this a conscious choice to put yourself within the film, or was it more of just the gestures that you're doing demanded more presence in front of the camera?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more or less. I mean, it's always more or less conscious.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always something you do. You do a choice and you make a step forward, and it just switch into another. But you're not a specialist. You're not. you're not an actor, but you realize that if you put out your hat, it
Mhm.
becomes something in the camera. Like you just realize that you're comics, but you're not sure.
Yeah. Your performance style is really, it reminded me a lot of like silent film, and
Ouais,
the way
ouais,
that sort of, especially in ambush and suspense, the way that you sort of amble on and off screen, it sort of made me think of maybe like Chaplin or some kind of silent film comics.
ouais,
Yeah.
ouais. Yeah, of course, it's but for example, the first thing is that you have to do something to stage. You when you enter, you are an operator. Okay, so the first thing is that you have to put a chair somewhere to
Mhm.
live, so that happens something to the chair. The chair is not you, but then on the way can happen something to you. So the situation gets a bit more complicated. And if you, for example, if you fall before putting the chair on the floor, maybe the trees is also the stage is already ongoing, so it becomes a danger. And the tree has to choose between you and the chair, and then it turns like this. This is
Yeah.
how the staging is coming. So it's always the and there's also, yeah, you put a chair, like for example, you put a chair somewhere. First, I mean, first you have a tree. The first step of the movie is a tree, and how to shoot the tree. Okay, that refers to another things you asked me, but we'll talk later. And the tree, the truck, the escalator, the pedals. These are specific objects that are the subject of. The object is the subject at each time. The object is the device, and then implies implies implied the waste object, which are the characters, let's say, of the. So you put a chair, but let's say I'm gonna sit on the chair. Why not sitting on the chair? So then you become the object. So it's always this game of between things and me, and the difference between me and things. Sometimes it's not so big, and you can say it's. So I always in these two gaps. So I'm not. Let's say I'm a character, but I'm a character who's I'm always making this joke in French. There's a famous book we call Degré Zéro de l'écriture, the 0 degree of writing. So I call it the 0 degree of character. Zero, 0.1 degree, let's say. So
Yeah.
it's just the first step of the character, but I'm really, really not a writer of fiction, really. I mean, the if it was a real character, the character, it would happen things to this character, things that would comment dire, that would be solved or not solved to the next step, and so on until the end. This is
Yeah.
what happened to character. Okay, it's a tragic. Um, and in my movie or my videos, there's not such a thing. It's just it's not it's a character, but to disappear at the end of the as is swiped again, is swiped, or je sais pas comment on dit, how do you say, is erased at the end of the sequence. The character is erased, and then you go again from the beginning to each. you know
Yeah.
so it's like it's more close to, I don't know, someone who makes things, but who's acting, but is not he doesn't have his sir, I don't know if the word is correct, the determination, the very high determination of what is needs to be a character. Like is
Mm.
acted psychologically or socially or or politically, or he has a goal, he has the character, the basic stuff. But in the slapstick movie, there's this two step. Okay, but that's what was saying Buster Keaton in interviews, that when he made a feature film, like maybe more than 1 hour, is possibility of making gags and are very reduced because they have to be included in the narrative process. Whereas when he was making short movie, and in fact sometimes the short movie are divided in two shorter movie of 10 minutes each, he could do a lot of stuff. He doesn't have to do. The action was the action is the juice, as we say
Yeah, yeah.
in a hit, with De Niro. Say the action is the juice.
Yeah,
Uh, so my I discover like a slapstick movie when I did Master Win. At the end, I shoot Master Win. At the end of Master Win, I watch all the Buster Keaton movie like in one summer. And okay, but I realized I'm a very big consumer, and I mean it, about of action, American action movie. Like I watch it all the time. Just like I really take pleasure to that. But so the good one, the bad one, okay. So and there's a really an heritage of. I mean, probably more aware. I mean, aware of this, but there's an heritage of slapstick inside the common. How do you say black
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster, actually, yeah, there's an heritage. There's several. Okay, so and the action in certain movie, the action scene are very impressive. Like with a car is going, and it's very. I mean, I'm very cascader. How do you say cascader? People who jump and who take their body
Oh,
like.
stunt,
Well,
stuntmen.
stuntman. I'm very respectful. I mean, Buster Keaton is a stuntman, okay?
Absolutely.
So it's the first of Buster Keaton is the point where stuntman and slapstick are the same,
Hmm.
And sometimes in the beginning of art, it's very impressive. I mean, beginning of stuff, like say, it's very impressive that what are divided with history sometimes are the same. And for me, as an artist and in all the stuff, I feel very interested or close, maybe, to beginning of art. I mean, to the not. I don't know if I feel close to where art begins sometimes.
Hmm.
Stuff I put in a way that I like to find again. Let's you see.
Yeah, absolutely.
But well, I don't know if I make clear, but voilà. And what
Um,
were
well, I we were talking about your performance on screen, but I was
ah
thinking,
oui, the character and yeah, the character. Ouais, bon, voilà. Character and operator are the two stuff, and sometimes you put more. Ouais, voilà. Ouais.
I feel like it's sort of in your answer, it came up this kind of um, wiping the slate clean between each shot. But I'm also curious about the framing that you do within these pieces, like especially in pretty much each one, the camera is locked down, it's set up in one spot. But in especially in ambush and suspense, um, you
Mm.
really, I began to question how these things are happening. We hear the chainsaw roaring and
Ouais,
we see the tree falling from out of frame.
ouais,
But because of the way that the camera is set up, I'm almost, I'm like, is this actually happening? There's a kind
ouais,
of yeah, with
ouais.
that kind of very controlled frame, and
Mm.
I also felt the same way when I was watching What Do I Have Before My Eyes, where
Ouais,
it's so magical the way it's happening, and then that framing makes it, um,
ouais.
yeah, makes you question like, is there a trick here? And so I was wondering, um, Yeah, if you could talk about that choice to
Sure.
frame.
Yeah, it's a very fundamental stuff. It's there's also a bit like this in the Master Wind as well. Man, you quote these two films, it's very right. Master Wind, there's also this intention not to put the truck on the center. It's not hidden, but
Mhm.
it's not. So let's take the example of ambushes suspense. I had the first step of this movie when when I saw a tree. I heard the tree falling on the in the forest, in this forest that I was visiting, and I was very impressed by the sound and the energy, like the volume energy in physical term. I mean, like
Mhm.
it's one ton falling on the floor, and it's a bit vibrating, but not so much. But I had very the belief of the movie when I had the idea that the tree, exactly as you said, shouldn't be there, but there.
Yeah.
Okay, and appears when it falls. Okay, so this means that you don't document a tree is falling. There's just a tree is falling. You don't explain a tree falling. You don't say this is gonna happen. A tree is gonna happen. You're gonna happen. Because this involves a lot of usual mind. Usually habits. Habits of viewing. Of course, uh, uh, yeah, you see a tree falling, but okay, a tree is gonna fall. Okay, a tree is gonna fall, and it's fall. And what's up? What's on? What the point? But the trees is there, and but that you hear the sound. So this means that you don't hide. You don't hide the cause. It's the relation between cause and consequences. And there's a famous quote on the famous French cinematographer like Bresson, who said that when you see something in life, you see the consequences before the cause. If you fall, for example, you don't say, "Okay, I'm gonna fall. This a tree is going. Someone gonna cross the path, and then I'm gonna my foot is gonna, and then I'm gonna fall, and then I will be the consequence." You just hit the floor, and then you have and then you think about the consequences after. The cause came after the consequences in a lot of cases. And a cause is always the history of the okay
Yeah.
the cause is like the history of the consequences. So when you make a stage, when you stage this, you can it makes you see with this simple choice. uh, it involves magic in a way, but magic, not wonderment, let's say. So wonderment is also a way to intrigate, to interrogate. You say, no,
Mhm.
to question yourself. You know.
Yeah.
So it's just to question what you see more than if there was all the usual uh, uh, subject verb. No, subject verb object, and then circumstance, and all the logical stuff, and you just take a part of but you don't hide the rest. So you can the mind can the eyes and then the mind can travel. But the importance, like in this process, is never to hide anything. That if you don't this, you make I say like trucage. I don't say like um, like they do now in action movie. Like you don't
Sure.
lie. You don't lie in a way.
Imagination or something like that, or
Huh?
maybe like an illusion, like
Well, we not yeah. No, when you do something and you hide it, how do you call it? Like
oh, like
the first
obfuscate.
huh?
Obfuscate. I don't know. Or I'm trying to think of the more.
Photoshop and stuff like this, you know.
Hmm.
Like the first Méliès movie. I live here in front of the former house of Georges Méliès. In this,
Ah,
yeah, okay, in
that's
Montreuil.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And he make je sais pas comment on dit trucage. Some people will understand. Okay. Uh, for example, the first trucage of Méliès is shooting this, and then he make an there is he cuts, put like this, and then this disappears. This is the
Hmm.
first
Hmm.
trucage. Um,
Yeah.
so things happen, but you don't know how or why they happen. In my movie, you know everything, why, how, everything. And there's another example which I can. Uh, yeah, imagine like if you see the lumberjack cutting the trees, it's another total other story. You're documenting a work of somebody. I mean, the work of the lumberjack is very is very essential for the movie. Like, it's technical. For me, it's like is like in cinema, people who make the stage, who build the stage before,
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
you
He's
draw
also.
a false window, you draw this, and you do all the stuff you put there, and you choose this. The jumper jack is the decorator, Uh,
Yeah.
but he makes the stage falling on the character. There,
Yeah.
there was this like this famous Buster Keaton stage, like the house is falling, and everything is falling on you. This, I think the trees is, I mean, unconsciously refers to all this. There was, when I was a kid, there was an advertising famous is someone which also bringing back this slapstick heritage. It was advertising for chocolates, and the people were they were watching TV shows, and they were like this, taking a bite of the chocolate. All the stuff in the TV show are falling, So when you eat something, when you eat chocolate, can happen a lot of, you have a lot of power,
Yeah.
and it's a bit, it's the same. It's a bit the same in ambush and suspense. Like the stage is being uh, destroyed. But there's another example. What I want to quote to make it more simple and understandable. It's a small picture of Delacroix, Jean Delacroix. The fabulous, the French painter of 19th century. It's
Hmm.
called the horse, which is frightened by the thunder. La foudre ou l'éclair, cheval effrayé par la. The thunder is what you see or what you hear. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't.
thunder is what you hear. Lightning is what you see.
Okay, so thunder, scared, frightened by the lightning.
Mm.
But you see the horse, which is like, like in Zorro,
Yeah.
Zorro is
Yeah. Yeah.
like this. But you don't see the lightning in the picture. It's exactly the same. And I think because he might have found very deeply moving to see a horse like this, because you see all the muscle, So when you want to to paint, to draw a body, you have all the muscle who appear. What do you call la morphologie? Morphology.
Ooh,
It's when you
morphology. Yeah.
study,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. Morphology.
Uh,
Yeah.
Morphology, yeah. When you study a morphology, maybe you need a lightning somewhere so that the body appears, And but if you show the lightning, you are the picture is not is more related to why this happens, whereas the interest of the picture it more what makes this to the body, huh? What is the
Mhm.
consequence on the body of the horse, right?
Yes.
So for me, for is exactly the same. Is what is the consequence on reality, on things being destroyed, on things being escaped from the situation. It makes the stage, it makes
Yeah.
the situation, it makes the well, it makes the image really.
Hmm.
See, this is the difference between a document and an image. It makes
Yeah.
the dramaturgy is more is it makes really a situation voilà. And well,
Yeah.
be careful to the causes. Yeah, voilà.
Um, I wanted to ask you about maybe, and I don't want to, we should probably wrap up just for the sake of the recording, but I did
Ouais.
want to maybe ask you about the location of this scientific forest,
Mm.
and I mean, and also the stretch of highway that you filmed on for Masterwind. But these
Ouais.
locations that you choose
Ouais.
are they important to you within the piece? Is it
Ouais.
more, or is it more of sort of a kind of, again, an incidental choice of where, or is there a particular importance of the location where you stage where you stage a piece?
Yes, yes, of course. The like Masterwind is a place on the sidewalk side on the roadside, sorry,
Oh.
of a national road. When I walked there like for any reason, but I was there once walking there where I should not have been, but okay, and there's the very strong air current given by the semi-trailer trucks passing by. It's very very strong, and I noticed that because I don't know when I go there, I don't know, I felt it. I was with people, but I searched for other places to diversify or to and during 1 or 2 days, we run like with a car, and I never noticed such a big current anywhere else than in this place.
Hmm.
I don't know why. What happened there? There's a lot of trucks passing by because it's industrial area, like more or less. Yeah, I mean, it's no, it's industrial, but there's also it's a road where trucks pass by. So that's it. And I never noticed anywhere something that like this phenomenal. So, and which is a mix, I think, between I don't know, the weather, the and in March, I don't know why, but during 1 month, any air current was available in the I was very scared. Like the movie gonna stop. Like there's no air current anymore. Sorry, it's sold out. Like we it's over. Like it's closed. The shop is closed. There's no. I was, but there were still trucks going on, but no air current.
Hmm.
Then it came back in April. I don't know why. There's a so th- th- this is you go where you are how do you say, where you are compelled to be
Yeah.
to make an experience like it became my it's became this place became my studio, right? Okay, where I experiment, where I dream, where I think about. This is where like I go. I had like 4 or 5 hours per day with an assistant, and was sitting here. It was a very nice life because I had um, these big bags of waste object like cans stuff, and we were sitting here. We had sandwiches as well and something to drink, and we were sitting and fixed my camera, and so I knew make the frame, okay. And then I have a list of several experiments to do, and we were waiting for trucks, So we're like this, and when you see a big trucks, and then you press you press the button, and then you run, and then you stage stuff before the trucks goes before the trucks come by. You have to do it not too fast, not too quick, but a bit uh, enough slowly so that it could be the big drama with the nice time, not to wait too long, so you make this. So then you spend time here. It was a nice. And it was very these were very playful, like easy to do, and if this doesn't work like this, it's okay. I put it like this, and let's try again. Like there's trucks. They are, yeah, okay. So the no other place could have hosted this experience. Like I
Yeah.
tried, there's no other place for an ambitious suspense. Is different. It's a site in the it's as you mentioned is it's not it's an industrial forest, but from which leads us brings us back to the 90s, no, to the 19th century, sorry,
Okay.
to the end
Yeah.
of 19th century, because it calls les landes, which mean the land, because before it was a flat and sandy stuff with sheep and people with big, big legs, foot legs,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
If you see Mad Max 4,
Yeah.
uh, he plays again this kind of plays when he goes to this lands with a truck, well, a semi trucks, and
Mhm.
so before it was like this, and it was not very, it was just lamb and stuff like. And then for they decide to take the forest for to bring I mean for national interest, to grow trees, les pine, say pine, yeah.
Fine case. Yeah.
Pine is cool, it's nice because the leaf are just on the top, and it's big, and so it was perfect for me. Like, because when I start, I imagine the necessity of maybe to lumberjack all the trees before, but it would be like one trees could have cost like 400 euro, like this. The work before just impossible, but the pine were perfect. So it's a play. It's a now it's a forest where lands belong to people, like normal people, like owners, but
Mhm.
and they sell their tree, they sell their wood. Each generation they sell their wood as a capital,
Mhm.
and when you sell your wood, you maybe you know that, but you pay a company, and they come and they cut the tree for you. Like when you sell, it implies all this text. So the stage is in the site of the, how do you say,
The scientific forest, I think is what.
the place of shooting is in the site of the owner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And when an owner found the lumberjack company and say, "Come and cut the trees. I sell you the trees," and then they sell them to another, to the process to build stuff and to. Then I come and I say, "Okay, you." because we have like a deal with the company, lumberjack company, and they were okay to spend sometimes uh, like a lumberjack with a chainsaw is what they call manual, because now it's I mean, in America you have this for sure, like big machine like in Robocop, like, and so when he make one day, I don't know, he make per hour, he make like I don't know, maybe je sais pas, eight eight trees per hour and cuts, or maybe 10. So at the end of the day, you have maybe, I don't know, 50, 80 trees. For me, it was one tree per hour, because the hour before is to stage.
Hmm.
And contrary to mastering, this had to be a lot of preparation. Like the tree, you choose the tree, you are on the so the site is also, the site is where the trees are, and where, due to all what I told, like the the it's different site, but it's always the same forest, like, and it's very uniform. There's a lot of uniformity, so you don't you don't really think you're traveling, but there's a there's a kind of beauty like in this forest when
How many
uh,
how many days what did it take to make that piece? Like how many different days of shooting is in that piece?
okay, when I have to plan on paper, uh, like when I made poodles, which is what I'm gonna make again, like, because now it's spring and I'm gonna make another poodles movie. I'm very
Oh,
happy
nice.
to take back the whole job, the, the old routine. Uh, but when I did poodles, I didn't count the day of work. I just go to the studio outside, and the like a painter, like all painter of the 19th century. I've got my le chevalet, le chevalet. Chevalet. You know the
No.
word, what the painter used to put the canvas.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the easel, I guess we would call it. Yeah.
Wait, like, with the box and painting inside, you go. So, but you don't count. But when you have more like material, like assistant and products, you have to count. So for you have to plan, a routine for the tournage, for the shooting. So I say this because it's different between a artist. I mean, because going to the studio and going to the place of where you shoot is not the same culture. It's not the same. It's not the same economy. It's not. It's very, in one in one case you have a lot of time. In other games you have more techniques but a bit less of time, and you can go on like this, like. For example, a feature film with a lot of people is almost uh, 20 days or 1 month of shooting. This is
Right.
what I do in Ambush Suspense, is 20 days of shooting. This is
Okay.
what I plan. But I have a lot of almost no techniques in my movie. I'm filming myself. I mean, but just to compare, so times and techniques, and
Yeah.
uh, and in all of case, what I need is time. For me, the crucial thing is to have time to you know. So we're about 20 days, and so each day is like 4 trees.
Okay. Yeah.
I
No.
plan this and apply this, and then and before one tree, it's about 1 hour to stage. You choose the tree first. Depends on what you want to shoot. If you want to shoot a big tree or small tree, you have the choice sometimes of the you always sometimes you so you take a big, if possible, but and then you place the object. He says to you, the tree gonna fall like this. Is that okay? where I explain him and say I put the object here. He said okay, so put the object, and then on the last things, uh, you have the camera. You put the camera and you say okay, so I'm gonna put the camera there, and then you plan all the stuff and voilà.
Were
and and then,
were they apprehensive about the fact that you were running back and forth in the path of a tree?
yeah, we take a lot of attention. Like there was a lot of because you can die. Like it's very
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's very
Yeah,
dangerous.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of security. But I did. Yeah, the death is somewhere in in Bush in suspense. There's a death coming, hanging around. You know, the death is.
Absolutely. Um, no, I think the sort of what you're saying about the buildup of time, I think is one of the things that I really respond to in your work is this kind of there's a kind of yeah, I guess the build up, like the time sort of you see all these moments of trial and error in your pieces, especially the ones before Ambush, where it's a kind of for some reason, it reminds me of a skateboarding video. I guess when I was in high school, those were being circulated of people sort of attempting a feat.
Ah,
And there's part of those videos is that, you attempt it and there's always the outtake of
ah,
not working. But like,
yeah.
yeah, I think the fascinating thing in your work is this kind of buildup of trial and error that happens, and then the piece itself becomes a kind of I don't know, an amalgamation of all these different um, attempts or experiments, and I don't know, it's a fascinating effect to watch them all play, and have this kind of compressed time of you trying different things on the screen.
No, yeah, it's funny because I did a lot of skateboard when I was younger. I was I don't know if I, but
You did
uh,
skateboarding?
yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was younger in middle school, yeah. But yeah, there's in stick, oui, la, there's no. You were speaking. You were thinking about more about Master Wind, maybe.
Yeah, Masterwind, and
Right.
also in the escalator piece as well, there's a kind of continual like a
Yeah.
kind of attempt of something, like there you're seeing these things sort of happen, and then it's a kind of, but yeah, Masterwind I think is the best example of it, where it's this kind of
Uh,
um compilation
uh,
of moments.
yeah. You know, when there's no there's first there is what I want to mention is that when you push the button, you know, you push the button of the camera, the stage is ongoing. It's like a tick 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 tick. The clock is, you know, and everything is gonna be if you're late, if you're in advance, if there's and you have to, you know, it will have to end at a time, so that like the simple fact to push the button, c'est c'est comme ça, tu vois, c'est ça, tu vois. Tu vois?
Yeah, stopwatch, yeah.
C'est there's a suspense in for me inside the process of shooting. There's a the time with start to count, you know, and you have to everything's gonna become something. Um, um, and but when you watch something fail, it's there's no difference. I learned not very difficultly, but it was obvious as very it becomes obvious very instantaneously that there's no difference between failure and succeed.
Mm.
because of course there's an intention first. There's an idea of something happen, but it's just the idea is just a first step of of uh, of watching things. Then things happen by themselves, you know. This
Hmm.
is the second step, and you are all. It's very important, like when you, to have this to 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 have this movement of intrusion in reality, and then the reality is an intrusion inside your mind. You know, there's always these two movements. If you don't have these two movements, there's no really heart, and there's no very appearance. You know, there's no images. There's no so sometimes the reality, and most of the time the reality, you know, is more interesting so than what you can think, and the reality says has to talk, you know. So when the reality fails, it's not is not it fails in concerning your point of view of very small mind of human being, but when the reality fails, the reality talk by itself and makes, you know. So and the failure in that case is also an act of understanding, you know, like like when you break, you know, I was speaking about this, the conscious you have late when you fall, you know,
Right.
when something happened, there's a gap between the beginning of the process and the end of the process, for example. And when you for example, when you break a glass on the floor, you understand how the glass is made because of the quality of the glass. You know, different glass. Some glass are breaking with all small pieces. Sometimes are two pieces and very. You see what I mean? Like the different. And when you break a glass, you understand what the glass was made of. You know. So there's a you are clear, you get the conscious of the material of it. So when it fails, also when you watch, for example, I was the other day, I was at the hotel sometimes, and I watched the TV, and there was a contest of skiing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, Skiing is very, like, it's a very high level performance, you know, with a lot of maîtrise, you know. They are very, and so they go slalom, you know,
Hmm.
and then sometimes they fall, you know. So there's a failure is coming, and I was more impressed by the body sleeping on the mountain with the snow very hard, gelé, ice
Hmm.
snow, you know, and
Yeah.
the body falling with the ski like this, and then I was understanding more what was the snow was made of, like the quality of the snow. It's not quality, the body of the ski of the performer, the ski, all the stuff. What I was then I said, oh, it's very, when you see some, like when you see the performing falling, you understand how difficult it was, you know. When you see like this, it's all almost the same, 1 second more, 1 second less, you know. They're always so sometimes. And there's a in a slapstick book, there's this comic concept of the redemptive chaos. You know, when something is in the chaos, there's like a redemption of stuff which can live. Finally, they can live. You know,
Yeah.
so when you destroy a chair, finally you understand the chair, you know, or when you know voilà, so so there's no this is an attention about what reality brings to in its own movements. This is very important, like the own movement of wind. That's why the wind is something very strong, of wind, or random, like the trees. There's this random between on, I mean, next,
Yeah, beside or
yeah, aside or on it, you know.
hmm
There's so and voilà, c'est ça. This is the attention of to failure or succeed is the attention to just banalement, or do you say banal, like basically
hmm
uh, to attention to reality, to what happened, and in which time things the dram what I call dramaturgy is the time things need to be there and to exist. You know, if
hmm
there's 2 seconds between this and this will exist, and it will maybe too much time. If there's more, you know, this is the delay between stuff, the interval,
hmm
like at the interval between two, the clock, you know, les aiguilles,
Uh,
the needle,
yeah, second hand. I think we call it.
huh?
Yeah. We would call it a second hand.
Second hand,
Yeah,
the needle of the clock.
yeah, because it counts off seconds, so they
Ah,
call it.
seconds. Ah oui, oui, voilà. And that, oui, voilà, c'est ça. Qu'est-ce que je voulais dire? Je voulais rajouter un truc. Oui, it's a, so this is dramaturgy. At the end, it all is dramaturgy, you know. But um, but it's what I call it a floating dramaturgy because I don't decide not very precisely what happened in time or not in time. You know, it's a
Yeah.
bit floating. If I try to decide, I'm not. I'm bad at it. You know, if I try to go over the choice and to I tried to in one movie and didn't I well voilà. It's very and some of it some of people like for example Jacques Tati is very like it's a clock, it's a clock coming from Switzerland, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jack, 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 it's and I'm very I'm incapable of that. I'm more uh, I'm more into the phenomenon, the natural phenomenal, and the what I'm very fascinated about is the what we could say the nature itself. You know,
Yes, yes.
it's
Uh,
very it's the the thing, the nature speaking to you. You know, telling you, and I just okay. Uh,
yeah, if we can think of Jacques Tati as being the kind of um modern, like film itself is very embedded within modernity. We can think of him as being this clock, the clockmaker making this very well-oiled machine. I feel
mhm,
like your work is a kind of free from it in some ways, free from that kind of precision of the machine and
mhm.
allowing the world
Ouais,
itself to do rather than to do
ouais,
the piece rather than you're kind of creating it and
ouais.
arranging it.
But, but it's still dramaturgy. This is very important. Like it's still organization. It's still still staging. It's still at the end. It's you can say everything is the same, but okay.
Yeah,
Ouais,
yeah. Um, well, I maybe that's a good time to finish up this recording. And I thank you so much,
ouais,
Simon, for sharing your work again, and for talking about it with me.
ouais.
It's really a pleasure.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Um,
glad. I'm glad this movie came across the Atlantic. Like,
yes, absolutely. And I hope that sometime we'll be able to get you to come to the US and show you.
oh,
Yeah.
it will be a pleasure. Yeah.
Let me I will turn off the recording here.
Yes. Okay.
Um